What is going on, my people? What's up? What's up, everybody out there? Welcome to Building Stuff with Nova. This is the place, y'all, that we like to refer to as your virtual maker space, your ideation laboratory, your mastermind where you, me, we together, we can build. And I'm so happy because today we are not only on Twitch as we are every single day, but we're also on YouTube. So I got to take a moment to say welcome to our extended audience today, our newbies to the building community, building committee, even as we say. But they all, let me know who's there. Let me know, drop in the chat. If this is your first time, if you are a first timer, I would love to see who's with us here, not only on Twitch, but also on YouTube. I see on YouTube, we got Ohm, we got Louis, we see you, Darth. Shout out to the people joining us, our building committee on Twitch, where we come every single day. Of course, we have Nova in the building. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Now, I want you all to know, if you are joining us for the first time, you are in for a treat because we have been doing some pretty cool stuff on this channel. Not only have we been doing interviews with awesome engineers and other people in the STEM fields, we have also been building things in real life. We've been doing little models and things of that nature. We also have gone on virtual field trips and we played games, things that you all know Twitch for. But one thing that we've been doing every single week is that we have been coming together and brainstorming. You all, people who are in the chat, they're on Twitch, and that's on screen. We've been coming up with ideas for what will be the finale. That's right, the grand finale of Building Stuff with Nova, and that is a 4-day engineering escape room. And we haven't been doing it by ourselves. Obviously, I said that I've been doing it. We've been doing it on the screen. You all have been doing it. They're in your homes. Today, YouTube, you're going to be brought into the experience as well. And we're going to bring our familiar, our friends, people that we know to the screen. And that is none other than our faves, Trapology Boston. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and walk you through what we have planned for today. I see you on YouTube. Shout out to you, Michael, for the first time. Reverse for the first time. Yes, we see Stimulator on Twitch. I see you. Welcome back, Stimulator. Terrablazer. We got some familiar faces, familiar handles in the building as well. But I'm going to bring on the screen Trapology Boston's representative, Mike, here in just a second. That is what we're going to be doing. And then I'm going to share with you all how you, yes, you can participate, how you can apply to be someone that actually could come and participate. As a matter of fact, you know what, chat? I don't think I can wait till the end. Of course, you see on the agenda right here that we're going to do that all the way at the end. But let me just tell you right now, if you've been coming to this on a regular basis and you've been participating in our brainstorming streams and you've watched these designs and these puzzles that we've come up with and that we're going to talk more about in a little bit, and you've thought to yourself, man, wouldn't it be great if I could not only participate as we've been doing in these designing phases, but what if I could come to Boston and I could sign up and I can be one of the players? Well, you are in luck. That's right. Today, we're going to give our Twitch community, YouTube, I want you all to know, over on Twitch, Nova Building Stuff, we're going to drop the link for the very first time for how you can apply to be someone who is considered to be a player or a participant in our 4-day engineering escape room game. That's right. So check it out on Twitch right now. We're going to continue to stream today's on both YouTube and on Twitch. So don't worry, you won't miss out. But if you're on YouTube today, now's a good time to head over to Twitch, look for Nova Building Stuff. And my friends, Nova, there you are. I see you, Nova. Just drop the link for how you all can apply. All of the information is there. There's some information that you want to keep an eye on as relates to dates and everything. But if you are interested in participating in the Nova Building Stuff escape room, we need you to join our conversation over on Twitch to get the specific application link. How does that sound, everybody? Does that sound cool? That sounds great. Yes, shout out to Terrablazer with the lightning bolts. Everybody that is on YouTube, you can see a link that was just dropped by Nova, our friends Nova. Drop the link to our Twitch channel. So now you can go click on the Twitch channel, find the application link. As a matter of fact, while you're on Twitch, go ahead and click follow. We're rolling ahead towards 700 followers on Twitch. So if you hop over to see the application link, I need you all to click follow as well while you're there. Sounds good? All right. So in a little bit, We're going to go on and bring Mike on. We're going to push this application again at the end. And then, as you can see on the agenda, we're going to tell you what's to come for the remainder of this week, as well as things that may be coming later on in the future. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get to bringing on our faves. We have someone who the building committee over on Twitch already knows very well. And YouTube, here's your chance to meet someone who you can now see on the screen, who is indeed a familiar face, Michael Trimble. He's a design lead at Trapology Boston, responsible for bringing each experience from concept to full implementation. And you know what? These days, he spends most of his time designing puzzles, gameplay, and the overall conception of new escape rooms. And we're so fortunate to have Mike, the guru himself, who has been coming to us on a regular basis, helping us and guiding us through this process. And so, Mike, I want to welcome you to the screen and give you a nice, warm introduction to everybody on YouTube. Can y'all show some love? Terra Blazer is showing you love. Mike, they all see you in the chat. Welcome back.
As always, absolute pleasure. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Trailblazer.
Yes.
I love the little Kerbal. Thank you.
Listen, let me tell you something. We got Caitlin, we got It's Reverse. I see everybody on YouTube. This is our first time seeing you, right? And for you all don't know, Mike has been coming on a weekly basis during our escape room design day. And Mike, how hard has it been designing an escape room, something you typically do in a very small environment? How hard has it been to do it with an entire audience as we've been doing?
Oh, so easy. No hiccups or anything at all. Completely smooth and easy. It's been different. It's like, I know I said that incredibly sarcastically, but it actually has been helpful in a lot of ways. Like it's totally new in that, like, you know, bouncing ideas off of a lot of people instead of just like 4 or 5 is its own whole thing of like trying to get, you know, ideas formulated easily.
Yeah.
But just like the mass of ideas coming in has been actually, especially with like the expertise, like I don't want to like I'm not even tooting anyone's horn, but like I think a couple of weeks ago I learned about ASCII for programming languages.
Yeah.
That's incredibly helpful. We were talking about like gravity assist for rockets and satellites and things like that.
Yeah.
So like it's had like a lot of pros and I'm not going to say cons, but like learning experiences, right? Like it's been a new interesting endeavor. So
Indeed.
Thank you for everyone that's been joining us so far.
Yes, special thanks to the building committee. Thank you to everybody again joining us today on YouTube. Shout out to Clockwork on Twitch. You just got a new emote, Mike. You got a new emote with your Trapology. Do you see it?
Yeah, I see it.
Yes. You all, I just want you to know again, if this is your first time, we've been having a blast, and I am going to bring you all up to speed on where we are. And check this out, chat. And I'm speaking to even the regulars. Chat, you have a treat today because as we are wrapping up the puzzle phase, the puzzle design phase, Mike is going to reveal to us, Zoairs, I see you. He's going to reveal to us some actual sketches from the escape room game that we are going to build. All right. So we're going to do that. But really quick, I want to make sure that I am able to bring our friends over on YouTube up to speed. So let's go ahead and make sure that you all can see what's going on. And here's the thing. We have a certain narrative that we are pitching this in, right, Mike? This narrative indeed is in the or the theme, if you will, is the year of Y3K. Y3K. Here's the theme. And what you all are about to see, I see you, Bigfoot. Shout out. Welcome to Building Stuff with Nova. What you all are about to see are some of the things that we have already sort of pitched to one another, and we've built up on this. But here's the narrative in Y3K, right? Let's imagine, if you will, in our 4-day engineering escape room, our players, which you could be one of, are in the year 2999, and humans, us, society, we have lived, worked, and we've basically found our harmony with a benevolent artificial intelligence, right? But in the final days, we're starting to see things go a bit haywire. Similar to what we thought back in Y2K, things are starting to glitch a little bit before the year Y3K. And so at midnight, before it clicks the year 3000, we realize that the entire system will shut down, and it's up to us to permanently save all of the expensive engineering knowledge that's trapped in this AI. That's what we're doing, right, Mike?
Oh yeah. It's us repeating those mistakes of Y2K all over again, but just on a much grander scale.
Right, on a much grander scale. We see you. Yes, this is Escape Rooms in real life, Bigfoot. We see you over on Twitch asking questions. And by the way, you all can feel free to ask questions. But what I'm about to show you really quickly here is sorry about the block. I'm going to show you some of the ideas that we had. But the first night of our escape room, we are looking at the concepts and the ideas of structural and mechanical engineering. And so basically, this AI is full of all of this mechanical and structural engineering knowledge that we've used to optimize our infrastructure, our transportation, supply chain, and whole nine. But unfortunately for us, on night one, the players are going to be entering into this engineering mainframe where they realize have been sort of interrupted. And there's a need in this moment to enable the AI to deliver a ship carrying cargo that's extremely necessary. And so we threw out a lot of different concepts here on the screen. You all can see we talked about gears, we talked about springs, we talked about different puzzles where at the end of the day, Mike, we're supposed to make sure that the players are able to retrain the AI about pulleys and the mechanical advantage of things, right? And forces and the whole nine.
Exactly.
Yes. What stood out to you in this whole ideation process when we were thinking about night one?
So I think the thing that was like really fun about this first one was we kind of kept it very broad on purpose, just to kind of get just like crazy wild ideas, just like especially the slide that you're on right now.
Yes.
And maybe we went a little bit weak on what we want to do for the actual engineering, but we went back around to it.
Yeah, we came back around to it like around here, right? We started getting closer and closer with our ideas as it relates to gear ratios and even the lift bridge, right?
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, just like what happens after the puzzle is complete was one of the funniest things. So just like, we could have like a disco ball come down. We could like shoot I don't know, like jello out of the walls. Like there's so many weird outputs and things, and just kind of allowing our building committee to just run wild with that was really fun. But
it was. Yeah,
roping it back in and running through something like how could we make gear ratios or pulleys into a puzzle, because like it's easy enough to say, well, we'll just put pulleys in there, and it's like, well, what's the puzzle then? Are you just lifting things? Like, okay, like how do we add like a little bit of learning into this while still making it fun and enjoyable for the players, and also like fun to watch
fun to ultimately get the job done too, right? Like teach the AI things that are basic about engineering.
Right. Yeah, it's like, how does this actually fit into that overall story too? So it was really fun working out, like, here's our main problem with this bridge, which we'll touch on actually in like a little bit. I've got some more stuff for that.
Yeah.
But it's like, our main problem is we want to get this bridge back up and working. What are all the smaller problems that we have to solve before that?
Yes. So how do you want to do this, Mike? Because this is night one, everybody. YouTube, Twitch, this is night one, where they're going to be playing and going through the puzzles as it relates to mechanical and structural engineering. Should we show them a few sketches of where kind of we're starting things out here now? Is now a good time to switch over? Or do you want to keep going?
Yeah, let's swap over.
We can swap over? Okay. All right, y'all. Check this out, chat. Now it's time to reveal where all of this ingenuity kind of went as we began to kind of like build this out, or rather, Mike. And we're definitely going to take you all's questions. But Mike, I am going to share now your screen so people can see, and maybe you can talk through us some of the genius and some of the vibes we're going with our engineering escape room.
All right.
All yours.
Beautiful.
They see your,
delightful. Cool. So you're seeing just kind of like a couple of slivers from what we have going on with a design document over at Trapology, which if you're familiar with like game design or just and been on any sort of large project, this is kind of how it usually gets laid out in the most organized manner that we can try and do. But maybe we can start with, I have two things here that we can maybe touch on really quick. So even before we got into the puzzles and like what we want to do for the main objectives of each day. Like you had touched on it originally, Nee, with like, what is this story so far with Y3K?
Yeah.
And there's like a larger chunk of the pie when it comes to designing one of these things than you might expect that gets designated for like story development and just like a visual style and how all of those things tie together.
Yeah.
Because like if there's one thing that I've learned the last 4-5 years of doing this at Trapology, is that the more you have that settled at the beginning, the easier it is to answer the questions later on. Like if you can create a world with like that story and that visual style and everything, it just makes trying to put those like problems and solutions later on just infinitely easier.
Yeah.
So kind of one of the first things outside of once we decided on Y3K but it was just like a great analog to Y2K of just like, hey, what if we did this? Like what if humanity did not learn our lesson? Like we're getting real excited about AI and it's helped us so much, but then oh no, we forgot something. We didn't right. It's like, oh, we may have leaned on the AI a little too hard for some things.
Mm-hmm.
So we did that, and then I was like, all right, like what would a fun visual style for that look like? So one of the things that we do is just start to put together mood boards. And these are like, I apologize, I'm looking at it now and realizing my PDF export got a little wacky.
Oh, so you showed one of one, then you show what I like here, what I see already on Mike in chat. This is all the result of our ideation, but I like how you're nodding the fact that, okay, we went back to Y2K. That's kind of the inspiration, but Y3K is in the future. So obviously we're going to have to fill in a little bit of the gaps in terms of what we expect things to look like.
Yeah, exactly. That was kind of like a fun thing when, you and I and the NOVA team and the rest of the Trapology and STEM media team were talking, like, was getting into that, like, all right, like, we don't know what $29.99 is going to look like.
We don't know.
This is where we can kind of have some creative, fun liberties and go like a little educated sci-fi with it. So this is just one of the things that we do of just like, all right, like what are some reference imagery that we have? Like what could a sample color palette be? What are like the basic, you see like a little fundamentals, little fundamentals down there.
Yeah.
Of like what are the main things for this? So that's one of the first things that we start with.
Pastel.
And then to your point, like then we start to, let me see if I have, I'm gonna skip forward a little bit.
Okay, no problem.
If that's all right with you.
Oh man, this is chat. For those who see this, we're already skipping through and you're seeing the actual sketches. So if you think this is dope, if you have any questions, YouTube as well. I know you all are coming on this. This is our first time streaming this particular stream on YouTube, but this is all around the design of our engineering escape rooms. So feel free to drop questions as you see the awesome work of Mike. And Mike, what do we got here? I see your sketch pad.
Yeah, so I popped forward a little bit. So like you had said with for night one, so like we have our big problem is we need to, there is a shipping channel and we need to let these cargo ships into port because they're containing extremely necessary materials to stop Y3K from ever happening.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, one of the vertical lift bridges is stuck in a down position and the AI needs our help to lift it. So that is like the big main problem presented to our players in episode 1. So like just from that alone, we can kind of start to work a little bit backwards. So one of the things is this absolutely terrible notebook sketch.
Yeah, no, it's not terrible, man. This is perspective and everything. I see it.
It's you can see there's some vague measurements made in there.
Yes.
Please, anyone in the professional design field, do not judge me based on this drawing.
Oh, Clockwork already gave you 3 flames. We already got 3 flames in the chat on Twitch for you.
Thank you. But like that was the nice thing about doing like a really rough notebook sketch like this is like you just get ideas out so fast. Like it really shouldn't look nice. Like at the end of the day, like this one you can kind of see that I had started to like you make notes with it too, where like you start to sketch something and you go, this is what a general shape of like a bridge could be.
So that's like the bridge right there. Those are like different sides of the lift bridge that the players are going to have to like. I see you have access to counterweights there. Is that what I see right here at the bottom?
Yeah. You nailed it.
Okay. And then
Let me see. Yeah.
is this going to be like a bridge span here in between here?
Yeah. So like you had said, like over on the sides, we've got kind of those pylons, and then in the middle, we've got what will be that central bridge platform, which at the end of the episode, we are hopefully going to succeed in raising and lifting up. So the nice thing about this is like you can see like some of our notes as like we're going back after these streams after we've talked about it and like trying to work out, all right, how might this actually work? Well, okay, we need to get counterweights in there. So where would the counterweights fit? Like, oh, maybe there's just some access doors at the bottom there that pop open once another puzzle is solved, or we have something. I made a little note here of like weight balance must be 100 kilograms as like a, what if there was a plaque here and that's the puzzle instructions. This is completely changed. I say completely, it's transformed and evolved. But yeah, that's kind of the nice thing of going like straight to the notebook is like you're not married to anything.
Right.
It's like it's rough. It's really like the phrase "kill your darlings" when it comes to design or anything. It's like be prepared. Like no matter how many hours you put into something
it might not
and how
work.
much you love it. Yeah. If it doesn't work, you're gonna have to let it go. So like doing this, it's really easy to be like, all right, well this idea is trash. Like we'll move on to the next one.
So
but
I'm wondering,
luckily,
Mike, by the way, in chat, I want to make sure chat knows where we're at. So Mike is showing us the sketches of what culminated from our design ideas that we've done every week here on Twitch. YouTube, you all are getting the first peek at some of these things. I would love to go back though, Mike. I don't know if you had another idea, but I would love to go back to show the mainframe, because here's the scenario, everybody. And I want you all to give your comments if you see something dope. But the scenario is we're going to bring in players into the engineering mainframe, this main little escape room area. And this is where they're going to be introduced to the puzzles that are going to allow the AI to be retrained for the year Y3K, right? So this is like the main home base, so to speak, Mike, is that what we're looking at here?
Yeah, exactly. So this big kind of little squashed octagon is going to be our engineering mainframe, exactly like you said.
Okay.
It's going to be the main play space where our IRL players are going into every day. And it's going to be chock full of a bunch of different things that are going to be being, some things we're going to use on some days. You're going to be exploring different parts other days. And kind of it's going to evolve across the 4 days. So that was kind of exciting for us from like a designed perspective to be like, all right, how can we take this one space, make it useful for 4 days and still make it exciting across 4 days. So I'm excited personally because it's really neat to see something like this come to fruition, but I'm excited to see people's reactions when we're kind of manipulating the space in new and exciting ways. Like hopefully our grand hope is that you don't expect some of the things that are going to happen.
Yeah. This is dope. Chat, what do you all think? Thank you, by the way, Bigfoot. We see you. Thanks for it. I got a question. How long does it take to build an escape room set? So this is going to be one part of the escape room. How long would it take to build something like this, Mike?
It always varies. The actual building itself takes less time than you might think. Like to put up walls and everything, it's maybe like a week or so. It's when you start to get into the detailing and everything that you start to run a little long, but putting something up is not the most time. It's the designing and the beta testing that really sinks its teeth into your time.
Got you.
I'm always the problem is what I'm saying.
Oh, you listen, man, you've been the help, by the way. And I want everybody again on YouTube to know that over on Twitch, if you're watching on YouTube, over on Twitch, we have a link in the chat where you can apply to participate. We're going to bring someone from our community to come out and be a player among other players for our 4-day engineering escape room. And what Mike is showing us right now is sort of the sketches that came as a result from our weekly ideation sessions over with Trapology, our weekly ideation sessions. And Mike, I want to go ahead and bring people back to some of those ideation sessions and what some of that looked like. But if you can see on the screen right now, everybody, we got into a second night where we're going to be talking about like electrical and computer engineering. And right now on the screen, you all shout out a lot of ideas. We talked about, how people can solve circuit puzzles. We talked about completing the circuits. We got some good ideas as it relates to potential conductors, right? We even got into different ways that coding could be brought into this escape room. That was where you were talking about, Mike. You were talking about ASCII and things of that nature that we learned.
I learned so much on that stream.
Yes.
It was infuriating. It was like I was tricked into going back into a high school class.
Right.
Like, how dare you all make me learn something on here in a fun way?
Right. And that's what we're going to be doing again in the escape room. So everybody, Mike, you all had the idea, what I'm showing now, where eventually we got to a place where we're working with resistors, right? And trying to make sure that there's a grid where people have to make sure the wire is able to get the certain amount of current from one side to the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Chat, I hope you all remember this. This has been really great. And if you're brand new, this is a great way to catch up. How much people currently working on? Okay. Yeah, someone asked a question in the chat. How many people are currently working on this, Mike? How many people are currently working on this?
Oh my goodness. Well, kind of a multi-answer question, because we've got our 4 main people here at Trapology Boston, including myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got everyone from STEM Media and NOVA that's been helping collaborate with this and kind of guide us along through the process. So that's probably another dozen or so people. And then we have our wonderful build crew that helps us actually construct the sets, which is Lord knows how many people. So it takes a village, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Indeed. It's a team effort, effort. It's a really good question. The narrative on this day too. So let's assume that the players, which we hopefully may include one of you all if you apply and get accepted, or through our application process. Now, after that first day of teaching the AI, mechanical advantage, structural engineering, things of that nature, we're in this day 2 where we're looking at electrical computer engineering. So we have the bridge that's now fully functional, right? We all can breathe easy. We still have a little bit more time before the year Y through K. However, the AI has recovered the hardware it needs, but just when we thought things were clear, just when we thought the coast was clear, we're going to make sure that there's a need to restore, not we're going to make sure, but the AI informs us that we need to restore the electrical grid and the computing systems. So that's where this comes in. That's where these puzzles come in, right, Mike? And
exactly. I
want to go ahead and go back to your screen and see if we can begin to show people some of the things you all came up with other parts of the designs. Can we do that?
Yeah. I do wish that I had more to show on that electrical end, because it's kind of tough right now. Is there's a lot to show in terms of the development on the space itself and how we're making the props, but it sounds like such a cop out, and our friends at NOVA are probably shaking their fists at me the amount of times that I said, we're going to find out more as we continue to test these puzzles themselves.
It's a design process. It's
the design, yeah.
This is the most meta project ever. We're doing an engineering escape room, and we're doing the engineering process as we're doing.
Wow,
we're going. It's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, it's great because we're in a part in the process where we have the structure, we have the props that we need. We've gone through these wonderful design streams. And we know it's okay, we're going to need this electrical grid here, and we know that it's going to function in this way. Now it's a matter of us implementing that and then creating the puzzle itself, testing it, realizing the 12 ways in which it doesn't work, because it's not going to work on the first try.
Right.
It never does, and it never will, and that's the beauty of it. You go in so confident, you go, oh, that's right.
Yeah.
These 12 things don't work. And then you go through the design process again. You see all right, what didn't work? Let's tweak those variables, go back in again. But yeah, so back, yeah.
I want to see something else. Show us something else. We got the mainframe on the screen, and I want you all to make sure Bookfred knows exactly what you're just talking about, though. The first try never works. Rarely does the second try work either. But what else can you show us here? We got some dimensions.
One of the things that we do in terms of just making our lives easier at Trapology is the slide before with the mainframe. We go into really rudimentary 3D, and that helps in so many ways, just because it's nice to see like how things fit in space and just like the general, because it's so easy to just miss things when you're working in 2D. And then the next thing we do is we'll start to draw up wall elevations for all of those 8 walls in there.
Okay, so this is like a wall elevation view of one of the walls of the main frame?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is one of those 8 walls of the octagon, and we've redacted some of the notes on there, so you don't know exactly what it leads to or what's behind those panels. But that's one of the things we go into is like we've talked about, well, when we go into the design streams and we talk about like what we want to do for puzzles, then we kind of have to go back and go, okay, where does that puzzle exist in the room? Where does that exist in the main frame?
Physically.
Physically, do we need it? So we've got the puzzle here, but do we need them to have access to parts somewhere else? Like, where does that exist? So that's where these kind of these elevation drawings, where they're actually drawn to scale, super helpful for coming in with that. And then we'll go back and just kind of overlay them on top of the 3D model so we get a better sense of that. And sometimes we'll put little people in there just to be like, all right, that's a roughly 5'9"
I dig it.
person.
I dig it. That's my height right there. That's me right there, chat. That's me.
The nice national average.
I love it. Listen, if y'all are enjoying so far just seeing the advancement of our ideas, chat, those who have participated in the design sessions, please drop an exclamation point in the chat. And if you are on YouTube, drop an exclamation point as well, because we are cueing you all into what we've been doing on a weekly basis with Mike here, as well as our whole team at NOVA, to put together our 4-day engineering escape room. So we need to make sure you all are digging this. Drop some exclamation points, chat. Let us know you loving this, and we're going to keep it going. Appreciate it. Drop the exclamation points. Mike, I'm 5'9". How tall are you? Somebody asked in the chat.
I am like 5'10", 5'11".
Oh, okay. You got me by a couple inches.
No one believes me. They go, "Nah, you're 6 feet." I was like, "Why would I lie about being shorter?"
Right.
It's a weird struggle.
We use it the other way around.
Yeah, I think proportionately I should be a 6 foot tall man, but alas, I am not.
I love it. So let's see one more thing too. Like we got Zoeris, Terrablazer. We got people in chat on Twitch who helped design this, Mike, and they are loving it. Bigfoot exclamation points, Terrablazer exclamation, Zoeris exclamation points. And for somebody who has a question over on YouTube, in these sessions we have been ideating on just sort of scrapbooking, putting together pictures. Mike has been taking these ideas and now he's showing us the actual sketches. Mike, can you show us one other sketch? And then I'm going to catch some more people up on the narrative. But what more can you share?
That's just another of the room, but another notebook sketch.
This is the pulley for like maybe that day one thing. The pulley, is that what we're looking at?
Yeah, so this was just kind of, we had talked about like what are some ways that we could utilize pulleys, and like what if it was to lift up something heavy on the ground. So maybe there's like a storm drain or something. So this was one of the ideas that has kind of evolved and died since this sketch. It's a caterpillar that's gone into its cocoon and it's vaguely reminiscent of itself. But yeah, this was again like one of those just like terrible rudimentary sketches just to be like, hey, I understand that those are pulleys. I understand that is a grate, and I understand that there is an arrow there indicating that this grate is going to get pulled up. So yeah, like sketching doesn't always have to be pretty. In fact, most of the time it's real ugly. Yeah. But it's such a nice way to just get a quick idea of like, okay, this is how this might work. Or you put it down and you go, oh right, this won't work whatsoever. Yeah.
What's this box? Yeah, what are you thinking with the box up here up top?
Oh, this is a silly one that I am absolutely in love with. One of the things that we really like to do so I think a lot of our design streams, we've really honed in specifically on the engineering puzzle itself, which is not even arguably the most important part of this project. Is kind of making sure that we're secret chefing you design and engineering principles, and so you can kind of walk away and go, oh, I accidentally learned something today. Kind of like you all made me do 2 weeks ago. I'm still bitter about it. Actually, it's really cool. So one of the things that we like to do though is to kind of throw some whimsy and nonsense into it. So one of the ideas we were playing around with was, what if you needed a part that was, in a box and you're searching through these boxes, but it's missing, and you look over at the side and you realize that a mouse has chewed a hole through and has probably stolen what you're looking for. So it's like this,
okay.
this really
introducing a little antagonist there, a little
basically
antagonist.
Yeah.
I dig it. Oh man. All right, so check this out. I'm gonna go back to the narrative, and this is, I see you over on YouTube, Brendo. Shout out to Brendo with an exclamation point. Brendo, appreciate you for being here with us. Nova is in the chat. Everyone is following along. We got the building committee in the building who helped come up with these ideas, and so this actually is a specific answer to I see a Bigfoot's question, right? Because there was a question about how we came up with these ideas. And I'm gonna show them again some more of these ideas, what we have on the screen here. These were ideas that we literally brainstormed together, right? Like we brainstormed these ideas and we narrowed them down over time. Like we narrowed down the ideas that we wanted to like include in our puzzle. We said that over time we're gonna get a little bit more like refining. So everybody that you're in chat with right now on Twitch particularly participated over the last, maybe 11, 12 weeks, Mike? 11, 12 weeks?
Yeah, it's been that long. Yeah.
It's been a long time. So just to bring y'all back to the narrative, and again, for my YouTube folks, after we did day 2, so first we had day 1, which was like structural mechanical engineering. Day 2, which is electrical and computer engineering. You all see we got into like coding and punch cards, and it's gonna be really good. We're gonna have our players then get to day 3, that is all about energy in the environment. Puzzles are going to be around these ideas of engineering. So you can see on the screen right now where we got like a lot of the brainstorming that took place that particular week when we were thinking about energy and environment. And what's really happening here is, all right, cool. We've gotten the grid back together on day 2, but now there's a work towards sustainability. So the grid's back on, but we continue to have like flickers through the city, meaning energy goes on, but then it like goes off, right? And it just shows that there's a whole lot more to it. And so in this particular case, we have the AI. To avoid the AI from shutting down periodically, we need to make sure that we are able to generate energy more sustainably. We're talking about solar. We're talking about wind. We even got into fusion a little bit, right, Mike? We got into fusion energy.
We got into fusion, a lot of it.
Yeah, we did. We actually stayed on fusion for a while.
You actually got to explore a real fusion reactor, right?
Hey, oh yes. By the way, check out that VOD. For those who go look back at our old Building Stuff with Nova streams, we actually got to explore a fusion center and gain some knowledge that we can. So what'd you say?
That's so cool.
Yeah. And I was able to kind of take up some secrets that we're gonna put into this escape room too. But basically, the ultimate goal of night 3 is to provide enough power that exists within the mainframe. And so we got, let's see, we first kind of stayed high level, then we got back into like some more of the weeds, talked about batteries, right? We needed a battery puzzle that we want to involve. We talked about, manipulating light and things of that nature. And then, before I get to night 4, but that's what we were doing about energy and the environment. What was something that stood out to you, Mike? Can you think of anything that was like uniquely like, hey, I'm gonna hang on to this from the whole energy and environment sessions we had?
The batteries, 100%. I think after that stream, we reworked one of the puzzles we were working on a fair amount, like moderately significantly, from what we had talked about on there. So it was really interesting. We were talking about just what you have on the screen now with like the saltwater batteries, like the chemical electrolyte makeup of that.
You're right.
And how that all works. So that's something that you're definitely going to be seeing. It's not one that I included in my sketches today because I think it gives away a little too much in terms of like what that puzzle is. But it for sure has made its way back around.
Oh man, I love it. I love it. Shout out to the
Yeah.
new folks coming along. If you are brand new to the stream, this is Building Stuff with Nova. This is a place where we are collaborating. We're building together. We've been doing all types of engineering puzzles, games, interviews, field trips. And this right here is a part of a series that we happen every week with Mike from Trapology, where he comes on and joins our Nova squad in what will be the finale of this particular season of Building Stuff with Nova, which is a 4-day engineering escape room. And I'm gonna pause real quick, Mike, because I gotta continue to let people know that we are live with our application. Live, meaning if you're on YouTube, if you are on Twitch, you have a first mover's advantage to get to Twitch and to click on the application link there in the chat in order to apply to be a player or a participant, where we are going to select at least one individual from our Twitch community, from our building committee that has been a part of this, to come out to Boston, Massachusetts. We're going to build this thing in real life. Mike's team's going to be there. Nova team's going to be there. I'm going to be there. And we're going to, in real life, build this thing so that you can participate with the others. And again, even if you are not one of those individuals, you will still participate on Twitch. Mike, it sounds like a good deal, doesn't it?
It's kind of like, I'm a little jealous. I'm going to put my own name into the application just to see what happens. But no, it's going to be on, like, if you have ever been interested in like escape rooms and like are an avid player, or just like, even if that's like your first time like getting into escape rooms and you're just really interested in like what goes behind the scenes of these things, like it's going to be really cool because you're going to get like an escape room experience that is going to be unlike anything you've had before, just because of the nature that we're going to be on basically a film set. And like I mentioned on previous streams, we've had an opportunity to do different interactions that you normally maybe wouldn't get to do in a typical brick and mortar escape room. So we're really excited about that. And yeah, like you're going to be able to like kind of see a little bit behind the scenes just being there, and get to be a part of that. So it's going to be nifty. I'm excited for it.
I'm excited too. I'm excited to see some people behind the usernames, right? I'm able to see who you are behind the usernames. You get to see me out of the studio in real life. But nevertheless, again, please apply. It's in the chat. And this is actually our last day of the design phase, which we have a few more sketches to show you. But Mike, back on your screen now, you already showed us this pulley system and some of the ideas. What else can you show us as it relates to moving from these ideas to the actual sketches that you all are going to be building? Yeah,
so let's bounce back to, I think, the bridge really quick. So we had boop, boop. I'm going the wrong direction. I had my slides in order and then I confused myself. Go figure. So we start we start off with these sketches, right? Mm-hmm. But then one of the next things that we do is, besides making that sketch look a little bit nicer, is like we'll throw it into 3D. Ooh. And like the point of 3D isn't just to make it kind of look fancy schmancy, although it is. It makes me feel good to see things get a little refined. It makes it feel like you're making progress. But like the thing that really helps us on our end is like we have all these great ideas from the brainstorming sessions, but then there's that whole nother step of making sure that they're actually buildable and then like usable in what we want them to do. So like making sure that like size wise the spacing of those rungs makes sense across the edge there. You also have like, how, I don't know if anyone caught it on the previous sketch, but there was a note that just said thinner ? Because we realized when we put it into 3D that this thing was way too wide. It was taking up a massive amount of the set. So you kind of get to just like see in a better sense, in a realistic sense, how these parts are going to function. And then one of the things that we like to do is to throw it back onto the whole 3D model itself.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like I said before, like, all right, this thing was maybe twice as wide before it went. That's taking up a sizable amount of the set. We don't want people just having to just completely avoid this thing. So it just helps us space-wise. And then once that's done, we get to start to like think about how it's actually going to look. So like this is one of those ideation sketches that we'll just use internally, just to like play through some ideas of like, all right, like what if the shape changed a little bit? What if we added lighting here? What about these details? And it's just like a quick way for us to go like, all right, draw one, copy paste it over, make some adjustments, copy paste, and just kind of compare them side by side. And that's kind of like how that whole kind of life cycle of a prop goes, as we figure out why it exists in the story, why it needs to be there. We figure out the problem that needs to get solved for it and what it needs to do a bunch of notebook sketching. Once we're like happy with what we think that general idea is, we'll go and draw it to scale, essentially. Like make sure that all of those parts are real. Like the thing that's represented as 2 feet is actually 2 feet and not 6.
Right.
And then go back. So once all the technical stuff is done, then we get to go back and have fun with it again and be like, okay, what if we like, rounded this corner, did this thing over there, threw lights here, kind of made it fun and poppy. And then it becomes a real thing. And then we knock on wood and hope that we crossed every T and dotted every I, and
you test it.
Make sure we didn't miss anything, which of course you generally do.
Right. But you get closer
to
what you do. Yeah.
It's all about mitigating the things you have to fix later.
I love it. And chat, I want you all to know, shout out to people on YouTube and on Twitch again. I want you all to know that you can ask a question for Mike. He's walking us through, again, the process that we're already shifting into, and that is the ideas to actual sketches and design, and what you all are going to see into September. Get ready. But into September, we're going to have Mike and his team actually take you on a virtual field trip of the actual builds. So you're going to see these things come to life. And so please feel free to drop a question. Would love to hear a question from anybody that's new, who've just hit follow on Twitch, or to anybody who's been a part of the design process and they're like, wow, this is actually coming into fruition. But I'm gonna ask a question first, as I see chat is probably thinking right now. But Mike, how do you determine the materials involved in this? Because I'm like, all right, I see the sketch, I understand what size it needs to be. Is it like, are we just gonna woodwork everything, you know what I mean? Or are there other considerations that affect what material is used to build some of these props and things?
Yeah, no, it's a super good question.
Yeah.
So I think what we're doing here on this set is fairly different than what we have to deal with on like our brick and mortar games. So the nice thing about these is they're only getting used once or twice. We don't have to worry about, this bridge or this ladder getting, used and abused dozens and dozens of times a day. But there still is that consideration of like durability. So for the most part, if we want something that is going to, that needs to be structurally sound, like something that someone's climbing on or like pulling, we want to make sure that that's probably made out of some sort of like metal skeleton structure. Anything that is visual, that isn't really getting interacted with much, isn't getting completely just like kicked and destroyed. That stuff is usually like a little movie magic there, like usually woodwork. Honestly, you kind of have a hierarchy of needs almost, where it's like, here's our primary focus of like an object or a prop or a puzzle. Here's like our secondary things they're going to be interacting with, and here's just like the tertiary background fill and things. So like those tertiary objects, like maybe just like the things up on the walls, that's probably going to be a lot more woodworking. Whereas something like this bridge, where we're going to have players climbing up and down and things moving, you're going to be seeing like a lot more metal and rigid structures on them.
You know what's crazy? Like, Mike, and I gotta ask you, for those, this is an escape room guru, and I imagine you've seen pretty much people come into your escape rooms and try some of everything, not just to be destructive, but also because they may think that that's the solution. You know what I mean? Like, have you ever seen people like almost like try to break apart something because like they think a clue is over there, and you're like, no, that's decoration, don't tear up that. You know what I mean? Like
it's like I'm not even like putting myself or Trapology or any other escape room designers down when I say like you're gonna beta test it and you're gonna have 12 things wrong. because like on paper, you may have thought through everything,
Right.
but you do not know what another person like sees when they first go in there. So you're exactly right. Usually it's not malicious.
Right.
It's just the opportunity is there. And for some reason, there's a connection. They go, I think this might, rip something off the wall. And they go, oh no. Which is why you'll see like
you weren't
escape
supposed
rooms
to touch that.
Yeah, which is why you'll see like escape rooms from 10 years ago had a lot more loose parts lying around.
Yeah.
Whereas like you go to like escape room in 2024, it's usually fairly obvious what you should or shouldn't be pulling on or moving around.
Facts. I love it. All right, chat. This is again our last day, chat. And again, everybody on YouTube, you're peering into this, but we've done this for 12 weeks or so, and this is our last one in the design phase. Mike is showing us the chat or his sketches. If you have any questions for Mike, please drop it in. But I want to make sure that everybody who again is here for the first time is able to catch up to speed. So after we've done our narrative with our third day, so the first day, mechanical advantage, we're getting the bridge up. We got the hardware we needed. Boom, we retrained the AI on structural and mechanical engineering. Second day, we get the grid back going. So there's obviously computer, electrical, the communication systems are back on power. Now you all see on day 3, it's all about sustainable energy and making sure that the energy and the power continues. Then we get to day 4. Day 4, where our players will now need to, once and for all, retrain the AI on how we operate as it relates to aerospace engineering and aeronautics puzzles, right? So here's what the narrative is going to do for our players. A player that, by the way, if you're just joining us, I'm gonna tell you, you might be able to be one of. But while it seems that we provided all of the inhabitants back on Earth, all of our fellow humans, everything we need, right? In the year of 2999, space travel presumably is normal, right? There's a lot of traffic out there. There are many new outposts beyond the Earth. And so we found ways to make sure that we can go from Mars and vacation here and there, sustainable. But we don't have the AI, really equipped to take us into the new millennia with that knowledge. And so the team must retrain the AI on the fundamentals of flight and rocketry in order to restore the rockets that bring humans to all corners of the solar system. And as a bonus, we are going to restore certain quantum teleporters, right? We like to kind of be a little bit of imaginistic, right? Or restore, let's just say, transport materials to things that exist out there at this point. And so now we need to make sure that AI knows how to deliver these upgrades to different outposts here in our solar system. And so you all see these photos. We were brainstorming about a lot of different things: solid fuel, liquid fuel, different types of rockets. We talked about how we can kind of simulate a rocket launch inside of our escape room using smoke and compressed air. That's going to be really cool. A lot of cool ideas. What particularly stood out about this brainstorming session to you, Mike?
Oh my goodness. This was like, I think the one that we got the most input on. I think mostly, I'm going to speak from the trapology end of it. It's like none of us are surprisingly rocket scientists. So getting anyone like yourself included, me, that has like NASA or space experience was super helpful. So I think like we had gone through like a lot of different even like off stream, a lot of different iterations of like what this episode is going to look like, of like what's our main problem going to be. Like originally we're like, is there a rocket that is off course and coming to Earth, and we have to get its landing systems back on? That felt a little too nihilistic, so we went with what if we were launching a rocket to try and deliver a payload somewhere. An update, a driver, like
to the Universal Space Hub, right? We have a Universal Space Hub that we need to update.
So that was a lot of fun. And then I think like we were talking a lot about like the fuel that we talked about in our last design session was super helpful, of like figuring out the oxidizer and the fuel itself, how that might work in a puzzle, how that might actually look in a puzzle on camera, or like what is that like. We're talking a lot today about like how do you make something from an idea into like a physical representation of it. That was like the perfect encapsulation of that, of us sitting there going, right, we want to combine fuel, but how is that fun? How do we make fun? How do we make it look fun?
Yes.
I think we got somewhere really good.
Yeah, we want to be like these kids right here. Like, we want to be, little scientists, rocket scientists there in the lab mixing oxygen, hydrogen, and fuel with the right ratios.
Yeah, exactly. And then we also talked a lot about like navigation too. It's like a really massive one of like, how do we make navigation interesting and fun and still follow some STEM principles?
Right. Hey, I need you all to drop some emotes, drop some fire or something that shows how dope this is going to be, because I'm excited, Mike. I can't wait. I honestly wish I could apply, but I'm going to be up there. I'm going to definitely be cheering on our team. And I'm going to tell you all, I'm going to remind you one more time before we get off, chat, how you can apply to be one of our players. But Mike, do we have any other sketches you can show people as we get ready to transition into the building phase? Any other sketches? I see you got a notebook revealed.
I've got a couple quick ones if we want to.
Yeah, go ahead. Show us some more. This is redacted a bit. We got some redactions, but we'll take it.
All right. So I hate this picture so much because it's so vulnerable to me. I don't love showing my notebook.
Yeah.
With like this is like one of the least messy pages. Like, it actually has. I took time to write things legibly, but it is like it's like putting your diary out to the world.
Facts.
I just want you to know how vulnerable I feel right now with this. But this was one of the things that we talked about on last stream, and I thought it was maybe good to bring up because it's one of those kind of like that first bridge sketch. It's like that first ideation of like, okay. Mm-hmm. So we talked about doing some gravity assist. I won't really get into that now because you all can go and watch that episode somewhere in the previous ones.
Yeah,
books like that. Yeah, so we had talked about like gravity assist, and we had talked about making your way around space junk. And then the other big thing that we had talked about was like fuel consumption and making sure that like, yes, you could do any amount of ways to get from point A to point B, but what if you only had a precious amount of resources to get there? That might leave you with one or two paths. So you can kind of see on this just like a really basic blocky sketch of like, this is the room. It's a 10 by 10 room. We've got kind of this big, what looks like a screen on one end and like a console in the middle. And then you can kind of see on the right there, just my brain as I'm talking with everyone else from Trapology going, okay, like, what are the big things that we need to hit with this? We want to get from point A to point B. Right. Fantastic. That's our big goal. But what's kind of like the thing going against us? Well, that's getting there with a finite amount of supplies. And then like, what are some other variables we can throw in? Well, 3 is like maybe avoiding and marking that space junk on there. So you can kind of see how that goes. And then you can also see like down the bottom, there's grid with a question mark. So you're just like, well, how does it look? Is there a grid? I don't know. Is it free floating? Question mark. So that's just like one of the things that we'll go through all the time is just write the ideas out, and hopefully they're good, but it's also equally as important to get the bad ideas out. Right. And then just like with the bridge, we move on to like refining it. Like this skips a few steps in the refinement phase, but this is basically us just playing again with that 3D and that 2D a bit. It's like, all right, we'll map it out in 3D on the right side just to make sure that it makes sense spatially. And then we'll take that and we'll then kind of draw over that 3D sketch and say like, okay, this is where certain objects are going. Right. This is where like that console is. This is like, placeholder graphic A. So it kind of just like helps us, go from what was an idea to, all right, let's make sure all of these things physically work and then they make sense within like the player interaction flow.
I love this, man. This is cool, Mike. Mike, this is so awesome, man. I feel like I'm a guru because I know that we thought through a lot of this together. You getting the sketches together. It almost reminds me of engineering drawings, very much so. That's why I said this is such a meta project. But these remind me of engineering drawings after we've designed like a bridge or something, as I would do in my career.
I bet you have binders full of your own stuff too,
Oh
right?
man,
Just
ideas. There
reminisce
was like
back on.
you look back on, to your point, showing your early sketches. It's like, why did I even think that would work?
Yeah, it's like, what in what universe was
You're
this a
right.
good idea?
Yes. Oh man. Okay, so did we already? Let's see. Did I already show? Yeah, we already ended with the narrative. So at the end of the day, what we want to make sure is our players are able to restore the AI. Everything is back, to normal. We're able to operate for the next 1,000 years, Y3K and beyond. And yes, the world is saved. We did it. That's the narrative. That's what we want you all to be prepared to do. Whether you are there IRL or you online, participate in the chat. We're gonna allow everybody to participate. But let's remind people, Mike, really quick. I've been teasing it all the way throughout this entire stream. How you can do it. We have an application process. Today, if you're on YouTube, you have to come over to Twitch, and we're dropping for the first time ever the application for how you can become, or at least apply to be one of our players, one of our participants in our 4-day engineering escape room game. This is going to take place in GBA Studios in Boston, Massachusetts. And you have to apply where you and others, we're still determining how many players we're going to have in the game, but we're going to have you and others go through the process of solving and in the narrative, retraining the AI so that we can live in happy and harmony for the next 1,000 years beyond Y3K. Mike, if this happened in real life, we can call you, right? We're gonna get it done.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I will be. I should be your first choice. There's no one ahead of me in that line that would be more useful. But I would just be happy to be there.
I love it. Well, we want you all, chat, YouTube, Twitch, building committee. We love y'all. Please apply. And again, whether or not you apply, you still are going to participate as a member of this community on Twitch. So make sure you all prepare to be there. Mark your calendars. Let's see if there are any other questions. Somebody asked a question about Nova swag. Shout out to Nova for dropping how we can get a lot of the Nova merch online. Nova-shop.org. Yes. Any other questions for Mike? I want to make sure you all get that in because we are phasing out. We are officially phasing out of our design phase and going into our building phase. Right, Mike?
It's happening. It's real. We've got walls getting built right now.
Walls getting built. So the next time they see you, Mike, what are you going to be doing likely? Next time they see you?
Oh my goodness, we're probably going to be beta testing a lot of stuff. Honestly. Once we have that set starting to get built together, we can just get in there and start just going really quick and dirty, phasing out the bad ideas and refining them till they're good.
Got it. But we do got some virtual field trips coming though, right? September?
Yeah. So you'll probably see us on that set probably mid beta test, or you'll see us probably wiring up some tech.
Yes.
All of those fun fiddly bits towards the end.
It's gonna be dope. And speaking of what's to come, I want you all to know we got one more stream this week. Tomorrow, we're gonna be live not only on Twitch as always, but also on YouTube. So you all look out for the countdown. We're gonna have David Pope, who is a longtime Nova host. He and I are gonna get together and we're just gonna talk about the ups and the downs and the BTS, the behind the scenes stories that you may not know involved in being a Nova host. So make sure you all come back tomorrow, same time, same place, right here on Twitch and YouTube. We'll be joining you all as well tomorrow. With that being said, can y'all show some love to Mike once again for coming and showing us his vulnerable sketches, his vulnerable ideas. Drop some love in the chat. I want to see some emotes, some emojis. And if you are excited about even participating or just showing up at the end of October for this 4-day engineering escape room, let me see it in the chat right now. Future Doctors is dropping the love. We see your clockwork. Shout out to everybody on YouTube right now. Stay tuned. Go over to Twitch. Make sure you hit follow, and we will continue to see you right here on Building Stuff with Nova. You all take care. Peace.